So I've been sat here for a while, just writing down some things that I've been thinking in regards to how your environment shapes who you are and how you can sort of utilize your ability to dictate your environment in order to get to where you want to be in your life. So I'm sure we've all heard the saying that you are your environment, or your environment shapes you. I'm sure everyone's been told that in some form or another. Like if you hang out with a group of friends that all love football, you're probably also going to get into football. Or on the flip side, if you hang out with a bunch of drug addicts, you're probably also going to become a drug addict. Everyone knows this. So how can we utilize this to create the life that we've always wanted? I firmly believe that one of the most important things you need to focus on every single day when you wake up is overcoming your current environment. So, if you wake up in a place that you don't want to live in, and you have to go to a job that you don't want to work, and you're surrounded by people that you don't like being surrounded by, it's your job every single day to overcome that. It's one of the most important things you can do for yourself, because if we allow ourselves to be swept up by these unwanted circumstances, we're never going to be able to shape we're not going to be able to shape ourselves to be who we want to be, because we're always going to be dragged down by, for example, you wake up and you live in a small apartment and it's claustrophobic and it stinks and the neighbors are loud as fuck and it just feels like a shoebox. Feels like you're living in a shoebox, and you wake up and the first thing you think when you wake up is, oh, for fuck's sake, I hate where I live. Already we're starting to shape this reality that we don't like where we live, and that in and of itself is going to drag your frequency down to that level of like lack and like discontent. You're going to be living in that sort of frequency throughout your day, and then you go to your job that you hate and your boss is a dickhead, and you can't stop thinking about how much you hate your job and how much you can't wait to get off work. And it's just everything is centered around these low negative emotions and frequency. When I say frequency, it can be interchanged with emotions. Emotions are frequencies. Just thought I'd put that out there. So what you need to remember is that every successful person has started, before they became successful, in a place that they didn't want to be in, both mentally and physically, right? Every single person. No one woke up and was perfect at what they wanted to be in life. No one woke up and just had everything they ever wanted. That's never happened. Everyone starts in a place that they don't want to be in, both mentally and physically, right? Everyone wakes up in a place that they don't want to be in, but they want to, move into that penthouse or that house in the hills or whatever. And everyone wakes up with a beginner mindset because they haven't learned what they need to learn skill-wise to get to where they need to be. So what I've written here is, the idea is to transcend your current mental reality and vibrate on the frequency of the reality that you desire. So the first thing you need to be able to do is you need to be able to clearly see yourself living the life that you want to live, despite not actually living that life, right? So even though you wake up in a shoebox apartment that stinks, you need to be able to imagine yourself clear as day waking up in your dream apartment with the dream view, right? Overlooking the city, clean, there's daylight coming in. You need to be able to see everything clearly, every little detail of the life you want to live. You need to be able to see that with absolute clarity. Yeah. So to do this effectively, you need to exercise your ability to imagine your ideal reality mentally, but also use that imagination to bypass your physical reality, right? So even though you go to a job that you don't want to work at, you need to still be able to maintain that mindset of I love what I do, and I'm doing what I love, right? Because naturally what happens is the best way I can explain this is you need to think of yourself as an antenna, right? So your mind is the antenna, and the universe around you is tuning itself to the frequency that your antenna is broadcasting, right? A lot of people, they get caught up in this trap of thinking that life is happening to them. So everything in everything around them is, they have no control over. It's like it's just how it is, right? Like you wake up and you feel like shit, and you get a text from your boss saying that you're fired, and your girlfriend breaks up with you, and whatever, like whatever it is, right? Any negative thing, people think it's just happening to them because that's just how that everyone goes through that, and that's just what happens to everyone. But instead of living as though life is happening to you, you need to live as though life is happening through you, right? Your life is happening through you. So the way you think and the way you perceive your environment and the way you perceive yourself is how everything around you is gonna unfold, right? And obviously in the beginning, it's not going to be apparent. You're not. This is why I say no one starts in the place they want to be in. Like, you don't just go to bed one night believing you've made it, and then you wake up the next day and you've teleported into your penthouse. Obviously, we all know that's not going to happen, right? But in the beginning, you need to train your mind, and you need to train your mind and your ability to hold on to that perceived reality that you want. And it's actually really difficult, because you go to work and you hate your job, but in your mind you need to keep telling yourself that you're doing what you love and that you love what you do, and that you're financially abundant from your job, and you're surrounded by people that you enjoy working with. You need to maintain that, and obviously that's difficult, because you don't actually like your job, and you don't actually like your boss and the people that you work with. But that's where the switch needs to happen. You need to truly believe that you are living the life that you want to live, and then it's gonna slowly start to cultivate itself around you if you can maintain it. And I'm not saying you need to, like, 24/7 365 days have this mindset. Like, obviously we get caught up doing other things, working on whatever, being with people, whatever, like, but when you decide on your goal, right, you need to keep reminding yourself. You need to try really hard to keep reminding yourself to stay in the environment mentally and physically of that reality that you want to get to. So yeah, I wanted to make this video because not only is it going to help you guys watching, but it's also a little reminder to myself that I just need to keep my eye on the ball, and I need to not let myself get swept up by outside influences dragging me in 1,000 different directions. I need to focus my energy on what I want to achieve, you know, because lately I've been caught in the wind a little bit. My perception of reality hasn't been the greatest recently, but today I decided that it's like there's no time to complain about anything. You just need to work harder and go harder and just keep reminding yourself that you need to be who you want to become before you become that person. So yeah, hope this helps.